159 years ago today, the Ottoman Empire decriminalized homosexuality. Hi there, I'm Bruce Tedder and you're watching Today in LGBT History. On August 9, 1858, the Ottoman Empire implemented a new penal code as part of an overall reform period that lasted about 40 years. In the new criminal code, they omitted the crime of homosexuality, thus decriminalizing it in the empire and in its successor, the Republic of Turkey. Yeah, you heard that right, 1858. That's 124 years before you could no longer be arrested for being gay in the United Kingdom. That's 145 years before the United States. Surprised? I was too. We constantly hear tragic stories of LGBT discrimination and persecution, hatred in some Muslim countries. It's not an exaggeration to say that being gay can get you killed in some of these countries. So how can it be that the Ottoman Empire, the epitome of Islamic power for centuries, how can it be that they wouldn't outlaw something that modern Islamic countries, some of them, today think is punishable by death? It turns out that this homophobia that we see in some of the Islamic world is a relatively recent phenomenon. During the Islamic Golden Age, that's from about the 8th century to the 13th century, Muslim societies were remarkably accepting of homosexuality. Some books that feature homosexuals were required reading for Persian schoolchildren. One of the most famous classical Arabic poets, Abu Nuwas, wrote openly about homosexual themes. His works were celebrated throughout history right up until the modern day. In 2001, the Egyptian Ministry of Culture gave in to pressure from conservatives and burned over thousands of Nuwas's books. Another example comes from Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni, who created an empire encompassing what is today eastern Iran, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. The Sultan was reportedly in love with one of his slaves. When homosexuality was actually prosecuted in the ancient Islamic world, conviction was incredibly rare. First of all, it required 4 witnesses. Right up until the 19th century, many gay Europeans would flee Europe and go to Morocco to escape persecution. So what changed? Some historians argue that Muslim disdain for homosexuality could actually be a consequence coming down from colonialism. When Britain would colonize an area, they would instill firm Christian traditions. For example, 2 years after the Ottoman Empire decriminalized homosexuality, the Indian Penal Code was implemented. Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code outlawed sexuality and actually exists right up until today. In Africa as well, many historians argue that intolerance in Africa has its roots in colonialism. Like the Islamic world, Africa has a history of tolerance towards LGBT individuals before the colonial era. Almost 70% of all the countries that used to be British colonies still outlaw homosexuality. Of course, I recognize that many of the statements that I've made here are somewhat controversial. There's probably a lot of people that would disagree, but that's okay. These issues are a lot more complicated than we can ever go into in a 5-minute video, but they're fascinating nonetheless. Conservatives and liberals alike, we need to stop looking at history through the filter of a 21st century mind, but go into it open-minded. Until we can admit that our preconceived ideas might actually be wrong, we can't fully understand the world. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Today in LGBT History. If you learned something, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe for new videos like this almost every day. Come back tomorrow and we'll be taking a look at the first gay pride festival in the Czech Republic.